I saw this reel from Srishti Patil, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, on Facebook recently. I saw this reel while I was busy making a mini album, and I knew that I had to convert it into a digital file so that I can cut it with my Cricut, because it's probably something that I'm going to use a few times, and by having a digital file in Cricut Design Space, I know that I won't have to remeasure and recut everything. I can just go to that file and click make it, and then I won't have to worry about trying to find the reel, trying to find the measurements. Work smart, not hard, right? So I made a digital version of the design that they shared in their video, and I wanted to share it with you guys so that you guys can do exactly the same thing and show you how to make it. My name is Kelly, and let's get clacking. This file will be available to download through a link in the description, as well as the links to the original video from Srishti Patil. So once you have downloaded the file, we're going to click upload and upload it to Cricut Design Space. It is an SVG file, so you won't need to do any other changes to it, and we can just click upload. I'm going to select it and add it to my canvas, and here's where we start to make some of the changes. I've color coordinated everything so that you know what is the inside, the outside, the flap, and the card. So we're going to right click and ungroup so that we can start changing things to score lines and whatnot. And everything should be pretty much in groups. So with these two sections, there are 3 lines on each side that we need to change to score. So I'm going to select them in the layers panel, and you can see in the preview that that is a line, and that's the one that we're going to need, as well as the 2 above it. So I'm going to hold in Shift on my keyboard and select all 3. Then under the operation, I'm going to change it from basic cut to score. And I'm going to do the same for the other flap. The only one other line that we need to change to score is the section on the black card. You can't see it because the line is black as well, so please don't forget about this one, otherwise it will cut. And we're going to just select the horizontal line in the layer and change that from basic cut to score. Now, because we have uploaded this document into Cricut Design Space, everything is just grouped. So if you were to click Make It and go to the next panel, everything would separate as it is not attached. So we need to make sure that we are attaching this together. So we can just select this one and click Attach. And then for these sections, we do have 2 different sections that we need to cut. So the blue is going to be the decoration that we're going to add on top of the flap, and the pink is going to be the base of the flap. So I'm going to ungroup these, and I'm then going to select the pink group. You can even move it away from the blue group if you prefer, and we're going to attach that one. And we're going to do the same on the other side as well. So I'm going to ungroup them, separate the pink section from the blue section, and we're going to click on the pink section and then attach that together. I'm going to zoom out just to see that I've got everything set up correctly. So the way that we are going to cut this in Cricut Design Space is we have 5 different colors. So you can cut these whatever kind of color that you want. This piece is going to be at the top of the card. And these 2 pieces are going to then be on the sides, and this piece is then going to fit in the middle. So that's kind of what our card will look like once it has been constructed and had the pop-up section done. And then these 2 pieces will go on the other side of the flap, so they'll be at the back or on the front when you close it. So you can totally decide on what color you want to cut everything, and you can even change the colors if you find that necessary. And then the purple section is just for the front of the card. So you can use different colors of cardstock. You can color coordinate them all separately to be completely different. It is totally up to you. I'm going to cut them out of similar colors to this so that you can see the different sections of the card. And lastly, before we make it, we need to make sure that the size is correct, as it tends to shrink the SVGs down a little bit, and not gonna lie, I'm not sure why. So the size that they originally designed this for, a 20 by 13 main section. So the black piece needs to be 20 centimeters by 13 centimeters, or roughly an 8-inch by 5-inch card. So what I like to do in this case is to add a shape to my canvas, make my shape the size that I need it to be. So the width will then be 13 centimeters, and I'm going to unlock the proportions so that I can change the height as well and make the height 20. I'm going to then send that to the back and select everything else on my canvas, zoom out and increase the size of the file so that the two cards match each other. So now we're looking for the black block to be the same size as the gray block. And it is almost the right size, so I'm going to just continue with my method. And there we have 20 by 13, so that's perfect. Now I can delete the gray block and I can click save so that I don't have to do that again. And then I'm going to click make it. And I am going to be cutting this out of 200 GSM cardstock, so just your normal medium cardstock. And I'm going to just optimize my space a little bit on my mat. And once that's done, I'm going to use a light grip mat here. I am going to be using my scoring stylus for this one. So when I get to page number 2, once I've selected my cardstock, I'm going to be able to change my tools. So I'm going to click edit tools from the scoring wheel to the scoring stylus. When I'm working with a single scoring line or a few short scoring lines, I find it a lot easier to use the scoring stylus. As the scoring wheel, you've got to stop, take out the wheel, change the blade in. It is a fantastic tool, but for small things like this, I generally just prefer the easier option, even if it's not as good as the scoring wheel. And I'm going to click remember material settings so that I won't have to change it the whole way through on each page. And once I've cut everything out, we're going to assemble it all together to be able to put in our album or even make a fun card out of it. An important thing to remember when working with cardstock is to always fold your mats over and peel your mat away from your cardstock. That way your cardstock remains flat and doesn't curl. We're then going to pop everything out of the cardstock, practically perfect cuts, I love it, and bring all of our pieces together. Now the purple piece is going to go on the front of the card, so we can actually use that last. And the pink section, you will very faintly be able to see the score lines on this section here, very faintly. You should be able to easily fold them if you want to kind of pre-fold, just to deepen the score lines to see where you need to stick down your pieces. There we go. And we can do the same on the other piece. Now for this, you can either use glue or double-sided red tape. I'm going to be using glue for the small little decorative sections on the pink flaps, but then I'm going to be using double-sided tape for that section. Just in case I lay it down incorrectly, then I can always remove it easily afterwards. So we glue down the little sections. It doesn't matter which side you start with, as long as you have them both mirrored. So the one flap will be on the right side and the other flap will be on the left side. And then we can glue down the larger piece as well. You can also glue down the yellow sections on the inside as well. So now that our pieces are done and we've added our color page to it, we're going to stick them down. So we need to figure out which piece goes on which side. And I find that the easiest way to figure that out is to lay them down on the actual card itself and see which one you want facing up at you when you actually open the card. So because I want the blue section facing towards me, when I lay it down, I'm going to lay it down like this. Then I'm going to be taking my red tape and putting red tape on this side, so it's going to be facing the blue. And I'm going to do that from both of the sections. So with both of the sections facing me, I'm going to be placing the red tape on that blue side. And this allows me to, if I make a mistake with this section, like if I put them on the wrong way, I can then still correct it before I've actually stuck it down to the card completely, or before I've completely messed up my card. So we're going to turn it over and fold that piece down so that that blue section is facing you. We're then going to line it up on the edge there and at the bottom here, making sure that it is straight. When that's done, I'm going to use my weeding tool and just remove a small section of the red tape, the backing. Once it's all perfectly lined up, I'm going to press that down, hold down the rest of the flap and remove the red tape and secure that over there. Then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. Line it up at the bottom, line it up on the side, remove a small section of the red tape covering, press it down, hold down the rest of the flap and remove that red tape. So now we have the flaps lining up perfectly. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to have the flaps open like that and put glue on those open sections right there. And we are then going to close the card. And then when we open our card, it is going to open up beautifully and we can just clean up our edges, any glue that may have seeped through, and just score those sections properly. And then we can place the rest of the sections that we have cut for our page. Of course, your colors might work a little bit better than these ones. And here we go, a perfect flap card that we can put into our mini album. The only one problem that I do have is the pink cardstock doesn't want to stick down to that side. But that is the Cricut cardstock, and I think that's the only reason why it's doing that. So I wouldn't recommend using the Cricut cardstock for the flap pieces. Stick with your American Crafts cardstock, apparently. But if you want to see how I made this mini album, check out this video on the screen here, as I'll show you exactly how I made this mini album with my Cricut. Thank you so much for joining. Subscribe for more Cricut videos, and I'll see you in the next one. And remember, be kind to someone today. See you soon.